I'm so grateful to be here for this gala. And I hope that you enjoyed these songs tonight. They're going to be a mix of originals and some classic Christmas carols. So I hope that you enjoy. This one is a playful one that I wrote when I was much, much younger. But I thought I would, add a little Christmas spin to it and bring it back to the mix. So enjoy. 1, 2, 3, and...
It's Thursday in the afternoon, and I'm here dreaming dreams of you. I'm writing a song and feeling blue, but everyone knows it's you I'm thinking about. You come and bring me flowers. We talk for hours. We dance under the moonlight. We chat and laugh a bit, but what's left of it is me standing here. And now, I'm left to chasing after rainbows. I'm left to laughing at what I don't know. I'm left crazy in love. La 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 la. We then go on a boat ride. The moon is up and the air is nice. The violinist play, and we sway and sway to silent night. But then you have to leave. We say our goodbyes, but I just couldn't believe you turn and walk away, and you just leave me standing there now. I'm left to chasing after rainbows. I'm left to laughing at what I don't know. I'm left crazy in love. And I'm left to talking to the Christmas tree. I'm even singing carols in February. I'm left crazy in love. La 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 la. Oh, you must know what you do when you say hello. Love's contagious, your smile's infectious. Oh, you must care what you do, my dear, to my racing heart. This may be a bit too much, but I wrote this song all the way through calculus. Forgive me for being bored, but I thought that this love was so much more. So let me tell you what happened in class 1 on the first floor. I dropped a pencil, then he picked it up. I grabbed for it too, but then our hands touched, and oh, I felt so crazy in love. And I almost flipped when he said my name, gave me the pencil, and then looked away. But I was left so crazy. I'm left thinking maybe, oh, maybe, baby, it's love. I'm left to talking to the Christmas tree. I'm left singing carols
So that one is one of my favorites. It's an oldie. All right. So this next one is also an original. And it's called Ooh Child. 1, 2, 3, and... Ask for your healing, and when it comes, put on your new suede shoes and run right through the temple courts. Ask for your healing, and when it comes, dance like a madman, 'cause you're left with spots of roll. Go on and sing, oh, oh, child, oh, child, new skin's on mine. Sing, oh, oh, child, new skin's on mine. Oh, oh, yeah, no. Ask for your healing, but as it comes, have a little patience as the trees that you see turn into men walking. Ask for your healing, but as it comes, shout out that He is Christ, the way, truth, and life, and live to confound the wise, and sing, oh, child, new sights on mine. Sing, oh, child, new highs on mine. Oh, oh, ask for your healing until it comes. Trust in His willingness to call you son, to call you daughter. Ask for your healing, 'cause it will come. Trust in His willingness to call you son and call you daughter, and sing, oh, child, healing's on mine. Sing, oh, child, healing's on mine. Oh, child, 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 Thank you. This last one is O Come, O Come Emmanuel, and it's just one of my favorite Christmas carols of all time. So enjoy. 1, 2, 3. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appears. O come, thou day spring bright, pour on our souls thy healing light, dispel the long night's lingering gloom, and pierce the shadows of the tomb. Rejoice, rejoice,
from that high mountain clothed in awe, gave his life for the elder law. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel, shall come to thee, O Israel.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Hadi Suanda Cheryl Bear Slee, Natla Westan Demden Usli. My name is Cheryl Bear, and I'm from the beautiful village of Natla Westan, which is located about an hour and a half west of Prince George. And I am very grateful to be here today with you to open in prayer and also with a land acknowledgement. And so we are so grateful to be coming to you from the beautiful traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish, the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish First Nations. So we just say thank you. We raise our hands to the Indigenous people, the host people of the land, and say thank you for letting us do our business here on your land today. And this prayer song, it doesn't have any word-for-word translation. It's a chant, and the chant, I was taught by an elder, represents the deepest cry of our heart. And so today we cry out on behalf of flood victims, on behalf of so much damage caused. We cry out for opioid crisis. We cry out for the homeless. We cry out for those who are suffering and struggling with mental health issues all across the nation. And we just put all of these words onto this chant, and we ask the Creator to hear our cry for help. Amen.
Good evening, and welcome to Sanctuary's second annual virtual Christmas Gala. I'm Lizzie Ojo-Martins. By day, I'm the communications manager at Sanctuary. But tonight, I'm the co-host of this evening's event here at Fluevog Shoes in Vancouver. Thanks to the generosity of the folks at Fluevog, tonight, if you purchase a pair of shoes on their website, using the code Sanctuary from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. PST, they'll donate 50% of the proceeds to Sanctuary. Now, you'll probably notice that Fluevog shoes are as unique as the people that wear them. And tonight, I'll be showing you some of our team's favorite pairs. And to be perfectly honest, you might not like all of them, but that's totally okay. Learning what it's like to live in my shoes, or in their shoes, or in your shoes is part of what helps us all to live more compassionately and supportively. And that's really important, especially when it comes to mental health. The theme for tonight's gala is In My Shoes, because mental health impacts us all in unique ways. At Sanctuary, we want to reduce stigma and start conversations surrounding mental health. And part of that includes sharing stories of lived experiences with mental health challenges. So, throughout the night, you'll hear conversations with friends and supporters of Sanctuary, including Dr. Hilary McBride and John Fluevog. We'll also hear stories of how our work has impacted people around the world, meet new partners of Sanctuary, and get an update from our very own CEO, Daniel Whitehead, on Sanctuary's growth in the past year, as well as a little sneak peek of some upcoming projects that we're working on. I also want to take the time to give a thank you and a shout out to our special guest, Candace Coker, who joined us all the way from Trinidad to serenade us at the top of the night. So, thank you all so much for being here. I know that it's going to be a fantastic evening, and I'll be with you again shortly. But first, I'm going to pass it over to our host for the night, Daniel Whitehead.
Thanks, Lizzie. Well, it's great to be here inside the Fluevog Shoestore, ready for another great event. My name is Daniel Whitehead, and I am proud to be the CEO of Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries. And tonight, I will also be your host. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You know, over the years, we've hosted a number of significant events right here at the Fluevog Shoestore in Gastown. In October 2018, we launched the Sanctuary course right here. And last December in 2020, we hosted our first virtual Christmas Gala here too. We are so grateful for the continued support of Fluevog Shoes and their generosity in letting us present here once again, live from this beautiful space in the heart of our home city of Vancouver, Canada. As Lizzie mentioned, we have a great evening ahead and we're excited about this year's theme, In My Shoes. Tonight we'll hear from our ambassador, Hilary McBride, world-renowned shoe designer John Fluevog, Vancouver Canucks owner Paolo Aquilini, Reverend Eric Wong from Westside Calgary Chinese Alliance Church, and Deacon Ed from the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministers. Each of us has a story to tell, and we are so grateful for our guests who will be sharing a bit of their story with us all tonight. We also have a special announcement about an upcoming resource and some exclusive content from that resource that we are really excited to share with you tonight. With so much going on, I want to remind you that this is a fundraiser, and there are two small and impactful steps you can take to help support the work of Sanctuary. Firstly, if you go to fluvog.com, on any purchases you make on full-priced items from now until 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the next 2 hours, Sanctuary will receive a 50% donation from Fluevog Shoes when you enter Sanctuary in the coupon section of your checkout process. 50% of what you spend on their website will be donated back to Sanctuary. And as if that wasn't good enough, we have another very generous anonymous donor who has agreed to match fund all donations until the end of the year, up to $100,000, which includes the Fluevog donation. Essentially, this means every dollar you spend at fluvog.com this evening will be match funded 100%, up to $100,000. So there's never been a better time to buy a pair of Fluevogs. You can buy a pair of great quality shoes that look amazing, completely guilt-free. So if you or anyone you know loves Fluevogs and has been looking for an excuse to buy a pair, give them the code, call them up now, and tell them to use it before 9 p.m. We'll just get them to watch this gala and join in. Now, aside from buying shoes, you can also donate, and you'll get a tax receipt instead of a pair of shoes, which is very sensible and greatly appreciated, but not nearly as fun. Tonight and throughout December, you can donate to our In My Shoes Christmas campaign via our website at sanctuarymentalhealth.org/donate, or you can call this number to make a donation over the phone. If you're based in the USA or UK, you can see that we have specific donation portals for those two countries as well. Go to the same website, click the country you are from, and you'll get your US or UK tax receipt. Now, standing in this legendary, iconic shoe store, we're going to watch a playful and heartfelt interview that one of our ambassadors, Dr. Hilary McBride, conducted with the man himself, the designer of thousands of unique shoes which have been worn by the likes of Madonna, Beyoncé, and even Lady Gaga herself. He's a Vancouver legend, by far still the coolest shoe designer that I know. It's Mr. John Fluevog.
John, it is so good to be with you today. Thank you for making time to answer some questions I have for you.
Well, as long as the questions aren't too difficult, Hillary, I'll be good. But it's good to be here as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'll scrap all of the higher order calculus that I had scheduled for our conversation, and we'll stick to shoes.
Perfect. Perfect.
You are known for making these kind of one of a kind shoe designs, and I would love to know in a word or image or phrase or something that embodies the creative spirit of Fluevog shoes.
Yeah. I would choose the word humanity. It's my humanity. I hope that you notice, or it makes you imagine that there's somebody behind it. Like it wasn't, they weren't designed by a computer, or they weren't designed by an algorithm, or, you know, whatever's selling in the industry, let's get one of those.
Right.
No, they're actually designed by a human. So I would answer that question and say, it's my humanity. And I think it shows, it sort of leaks out.
That's inspiring to think about. It all of a sudden has turned shoes, or your shoes, into this connection point between people. Wow, I love that word.
Oh, yeah.
You take these really classic shoe silhouettes like a pump or a boot and add whimsy, delight, some sparkle, some flavor to them through color, patterns, textures, shapes of the heels, and so much more. John, where do you get the inspiration for the special like Fluevog flavor, the je ne sais quoi in your shoes?
I began my career thinking I wasn't creative. I didn't come from a creative background, although it was, but it was never talked about. It was sort of the 50s and the 60s. It was like I grew up in this evangelical Christian background, and that was not something that was kind of frowned upon, or not something that was had any value. So it took me a long time to understand what creativity meant. But I found that when I was bold enough to go after what I saw in my mind and to believe in it, that was a turning point for me to understand my own creativity.
In addition to your creativity, John, what are other things that you do to take care of your mental health?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because I run a business, and that can be stressful, quite stressful, actually. And so on one hand, you can say, oh, John, what a great job you got. You just sort of think of stuff and lay it down, and then it's so free. And well, no, it's not. It's also a lot of pressure because I'm only as good as what I think of. And I cannot, if I keep rushing and keep pounding and rushing and going and going and going, I run down, I run out of steam, I run out of power. I can easily get, I would almost call it depressed, if I don't take the time to connect to my creator, to creative things, to letting things go, to listening, to hearing. I need those times. So that's where I go.
Thank you. So John, I have a final question for you. Wanting to ask, what are some ways that we can walk in another person's shoes with love and care?
We need to have an open soul, an open heart, and an open mind. I find myself, not always doing that. And when I open myself up more to the humanity of everyone, and knowing and understanding people's quirks, and that I have the same quirks, and I am no different than anyone else, and to see people's humanity, it helps you to walk in their shoes and see who they are. And that's what I really like about this ministry, is that it's giving us more tools to be able to deal with the people in society who are a little off of what I would call the norm. And it's sort of like my shoes are like that. They're just a little bit off of what you might mainstream. And I think it's really important that we begin to understand people who don't think like us, who think differently, particularly in, I would say in what kind of context? A faith context. So that our faith can begin to be a bit more living, and we can understand people better without just dismissing them. So.
Wow. Oh, I feel inspired. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that seems so important. John, thank you so much for your time today for this interview. And for all of you who are with us for the interview, thank you so much for hanging around. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Lizzie, who's in the store with some of the sanctuary staff and their favorite pair of Fluevogs.
Hi, I'm here with Amy. Amy, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do at Sanctuary and also why you chose that specific Fluevog shoe?
Oh, I'd love to. I have worked at Sanctuary for a year and have had lots of different roles. At the moment, I'm in operations. And so when I was thinking about a shoe, I thought, what is a shoe that would go with lots of different kind of parts of my life? So this is the So Many. Lovely, gorgeous, limited edition shoe. It goes with a bright outfit like what Lizzie and I have on, matching. Or it goes with something sleek like a black dress, or even I could wear this to work. Just so many ways you could wear it.
Hi, I'm here with Isabel. Isabel, this is such a fun looking shoe. Do you want to tell us why you chose it and also what you do at Sanctuary?
Of course, sure. I make our social media channels cool at Sanctuary, and they look just as cool as the shoe. It's futuristic, it's edgy, and I love that it goes with all black outfits like the one I'm wearing tonight. So Lizzie, you've asked us about our favorite picks at Fluevog. Tell us about your favorite shoe and why you picked it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's named the Rashida after Rashida Tlaib, a political trailblazer. And I love the shoe for that reason, but also because it's classy, it's sophisticated, but it's also a little fun and whimsical, kind of like me.
Yes.
Thanks, Lizzie. My personal favorites are retro yet futuristic, understated yet bold. This is the Linden. The shoe is a glorious juxtaposition, and they're really comfortable too. Yes, I do own a pair. There's a pair for every soul. So get online at fluvog.com and find a pair that you like best. But don't forget to use the code SANCTUARY at checkout to designate your purchase for the donation back to our work. Remember, 100% of everything you spend before 9 p.m. this evening will be donated back to Sanctuary, and your regular donations will be match funded as well, which can be made at sanctuarymentalhealth.org/donate or over the phone. Right, now on to our next interview, and it's a good friend of ours, a respected Vancouver businessman and owner of the Vancouver Canucks NHL hockey team. You'll hear firsthand his idea for a new potential shoe design for John Fluevog, as well as how he cares for his own mental health. I'm delighted to introduce you to Mr. Paolo Aquilini. Good evening, Paolo. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Paolo, you've been a wonderful friend of Sanctuary's over the years and one of our biggest advocates. So what is it about our work that gets you all fired up to tell the world about us?
Well, I think in my life, everything I try to think about and focus on is to do things that people haven't done before, because there's a need and no one's thought about how to deal with that need. And I think that's what excites me about Sanctuary. There's a massive need in the church that it needs to be met, that has not been met for various reasons, but Sanctuary exists to meet that need, which is to help people who live with mental health issues, to come alongside them, not only as in the leadership of the church, but also as a community, because I really believe that it is the power of God unleashed through the community as a whole that really brings healing to people. So that's what Sanctuary really focuses on. And that's what really excites me about it. And it is such a huge need. And the Sanctuary has been created ultimately by God, who put people there like Daniel, who's a good friend of mine, you, Daniel, to do this work along with your team and everyone else involved. I'm really excited about what it's doing and what it will do.
Wow, that's so cool. Paolo, you're a very busy man. So where and how do you find time in your day to care for your own mental health?
I think you learn lessons over life. Life has a way of shaping you and molding you and bringing you into new experiences that help you deal with mental health. Now, that's your own experiences, but then you also have other people that help you. Sanctuary is a great tool for that. But for me personally, it is one of the greatest things that helps me is I go for an early morning walk every day. That sets the tone for my whole day. It's like laying a foundation for my life every day. I have to report every day because that fresh foundation is what I need every day to build my life upon. And that just is my time to spend with God, my time to see nature, to meditate, and it fills up my spiritual gas tank. And then I use it during the day. But if I start out the day with an empty tank, it's kind of hard to run the car, and all sorts of things start to happen. So filling up the gas tank, the spiritual gas tank in the morning for me has been one of the greatest things, along many other things. But that to me is the biggest thing that has helped me.
Very good. So Paolo, let's talk about Fluevog shoes. I don't know if you're a fan, but what shoe style would you go for and why?
I'm definitely a fan of Fluevog shoes. I think I love it because, you know, it is a piece of art. It's not a shoe, right? This is something that is really created by an artist. And I love the shoes. I just wish they, would make a pair of soccer cleats. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it, but if they had that, I'm the first one in line to buy those, because those would be really cool.
Well, there's a challenge for you, John. The Aquilini soccer cleats. Let's see them. We want to see them. So, Paolo, there's a story that many of us know titled Footprints in the Sand, where a person notices that there is only one set of footprints during the lowest points of his life. And God responds to him and says, when you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. As we ponder this well-known story and how it speaks to our gala theme tonight of In My Shoes, can you share about a time when you felt that God carried you?
Well, as I look back in my life, I think there was many times when he carried me. Actually, as I think about it, I think he carries me every single day, all the time. I think he really, at the end of the day, carries us really from the time of birth through our life, into death, through death, and into the resurrection, and ultimately into his kingdom. I mean, when I think of carry, it's really, I don't know, the image for me when you say that, it's about a mother carrying her child. There's comfort, there's security, there's protection. And that's what God is all about. So when I think of that, maybe think about it, I guess, one set of footprints all the way, in a sense. But yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful little poem. And I've seen many times in my life where, you get from one point to another point, and you don't know how you got through that dark period in your life. But the reason why you don't know how you got from this point to this point was because God was carrying you, right? That's how you didn't walk that. God was with you, God carried you. And it is in those times, probably when your darkest times, that you feel God is so far away from you that he's actually the nearest, and he's cradling you and he's holding you. And if there's anybody here tonight that is going through any kind of mental health issue, I would just like to look into this camera and tell you, God is carrying you, even though you don't feel it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Paolo. We are so thrilled to have you as part of our family, and just thank you for sharing this special time with us this evening.
All right. It was great to be here, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Paolo mentioned the powerful role the church has in supporting people facing mental health challenges. And this past year, we have been excited to release resources for the Catholic Church. If you joined us at last year's virtual Christmas Gala, I was excited to share with you the trailer for the Sanctuary course for Catholics. That resource was launched on Formed earlier this year and is now available on our website as well. And tonight, if you keep watching, you will see another exclusive trailer later in our program. We also released a Spanish translation of that course just a few short months back. This new resource has also opened doors to new friends and new partnerships, like with Deacon Ed and the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministers. Deacon Ed is another good friend of mine. He is passionate about mental health awareness in his denomination and has spoken publicly about the death of his daughter Katie, who tragically died by suicide in 2016. We have recently announced a partnership between our two organizations, and as part of this partnership, we are currently co-producing 2 brand new Catholic-specific resources to be launched in the next 12 months. So without further ado, Here's Deacon Ed.
Hello, Deacon Ed. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening. Could you give us a brief overview of the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministries, which you founded?
It's a group of Catholic ministers who have gotten together to form a network to support each other. We decided to do this a couple years ago because there aren't that many of us in this ministry yet in the Catholic Church, and I would emphasize the word yet. But we found it's important to be able to share resources with each other, share information, and to build up this ministry within the church. It can be a lonely ministry at times, so we need to support each other and network with each other.
So, Deacon Ed, I'm asking everyone this, but on a more personal note, how have you been caring for your mental health and well-being in the past year?
Well, I struggle with moderate levels of depression. So for me, it's being aware of it, acknowledging that I have to be aware of my depression, and take notice of the signs. So once I do that and feel the depression coming on, and it can manifest itself as being either sad or tired or being a little edgy, a little angry, I get exercise regularly. I try to watch what I eat. I do all the things that you should do, and take some medicine to help manage it. I've just been just paying more attention to it and viewing it as an illness and not just simply as me being grumpy or tired, but realizing this is an illness I need to pay attention to.
Wow. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. It's so helpful. Our gala theme this year is entitled In My Shoes. So from your perspective as a ministry leader, what are the benefits that can come from sharing our mental health journeys with others?
It's important that ministry leaders open up about their mental health issues so that we're not viewed as somehow separate or superior to the people in our parishes, and because that increases the stigma. If somehow it appears as though the people in ministry don't have to deal with mental health and mental health challenges, does that make the other folks lesser than because they do? I mean, the reality is we all have to deal with these mental health challenges. And I think that by us opening up and making it clear that we all experience this thing, it's something that reduces the stigma, reduces the discrimination, reduces the self-stigmatization, and makes people more comfortable to bring it out into the open, to discuss it with their church faith leaders. And it opens up, and I believe ultimately that opens up, gives an opening for Christ to enter into this discussion and be the source of compassion that Christ, I'm sure, wants to be in the midst of all of this. And so if we can break down those barriers and allow the doors of the church to swing open wide, so to speak, and let Christ's healing balm enter into the lives of people that live with these illnesses, that's a wonderful thing that we can do.
So good. So, Deacon Ed, it's a rather serious note to strike on as we close our time together in this interview, but it's a question that I really think needs to be heard. Deacon Ed, there may be people attending our gala tonight who have lost a loved one to suicide. What are some words of hope that you would like to convey to them this evening?
Well, the one word of hope is that your loved one has not disappeared. It's not like they no longer exist. Your loved one is fully alive, still exists, and perhaps in a more glorious state, certainly in a place that's closer to God than any of us here on earth are. So always remember that. Us Catholics use the phrase the communion of saints, which means that there's those of us that are living and the dead, we're all still joined together. So in my experience with Katie, I still experience Katie. I know she exists. I pray with her, and she has by no means disappeared off into the ether. She still very much exists. And the second thing is that God can turn everything to the good. And as hard as it may be to understand how God can use suicide to the good, I know my experience is that it's made me a more empathetic person. I understand suffering better now, and that God can somehow turn that to the good. I always say that, we can bring the joy that our loved ones had into the world, but we can also take their suffering and turn it into service to those who suffer from the same thing. So in my case, and in the case of many other people, we can bring the love of service to those who live with a mental illness and those who are grieving a suicide. We can be of help. We can love them and show them that God never is far from them.
Amen. Thank you so much, Deacon Ed. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for our continued partnership. We are thrilled to be working with you.
We are too. It's going to be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Deacon Ed, for those encouraging words of hope. We are so excited for the resources that we are developing together and the impact they will make around the globe. Well, we now transition over to our final interview of the evening. But before we do, let me remind you that if you go to fluevog.com and you use the code SANCTUARY in your checkout process, any purchases you make on full-priced items from now until 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the next 1.5 hours, Sanctuary will receive the same amount match funded. Remember, all donations until the end of the year will be match funded, up to $100,000. And don't forget, you can also just donate to our work online at sanctuarymentalhealth.org/donate. Or call our number and someone can take payment details over the phone. Just before we share that exclusive trailer I mentioned earlier, we want to share one of our favorite types of stories. At Sanctuary, we love hearing how our resources are making an impact in church communities. In this next interview, Lizzie caught up with Reverend Eric Wong from Westside Calgary Chinese Alliance Church. Eric is an assistant pastor in their English congregation and has been running the Sanctuary course for members in their Mandarin and Cantonese congregations as well. Tonight, Eric bravely shares with us about his own journey with post-traumatic stress disorder and how running the Sanctuary course is helping to reduce stigma at his church. Here it is.
So I am here with Reverend Eric Wong. Thank you so much for being with us today and for having a chat with us for our gala evening.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we just want to chat a little bit about your experience with the Sanctuary course and with pastoring the Westside Calgary Church as well. So I've heard that you've run the Sanctuary course at your church, I think 4 or 5 times now. And one of the groups that you ran it with was your young adults and youth group. So I just want to hear, can you tell us a little bit about what your young adults value and appreciate about the course?
Yeah, I ran it about 4 or 5 times, that's correct. And I think it started around last year, March, when the pandemic just started. I realized that a lot of people were not doing well and they could not connect and they didn't have the vocabulary to express themselves. And so I came upon this course, Sanctuary course, and I looked into it and I thought it was, hey, maybe we can try. And so I read it with the university students first. And what I found very valuable was it really gives us the language to talk about what is going on inside in our minds and our hearts. And for the university students especially, it was very eye-opening to see the church even address this, because it has been a very strong taboo, or I would say stigma, in Chinese Asian churches. We don't talk about these things at all, and we shy away from it. And to bring this up, it was really valuable to really give them a voice to say, hey, I'm not doing good. And the church is helping us, the church is listening, and we go back to the scripture. So that was very valuable.
Wow, that is fantastic to hear that the course was able to provide not only the vocabulary, but some of the tools like you're mentioning to really equip people in their everyday life. But I think something that's really important about your story is that it also highlights how it is and how people are looking for the church to be speaking about mental health and well-being, especially as the conversation has become, more popular or more widely talked about kind of in the secular part of the world, but not so much in church. So thank you for highlighting that need. That's very important. Speaking more about your own specific mental health journey, as a pastor, have you found it helpful to share your journey with your church? And what has that experience been like if you have?
Yes, I have shared my journey with a close group. I have never really done that until I start facilitating Sanctuary course. And I think it brought a lot of healing into myself as well, being able to share that. And I really took note from the Sanctuary course. As I looked at the videos, a lot of the people in these videos are pastors or leaders, and they openly share about the struggles. I remember the first one, they talk about the suicidal ideation or thoughts. And for me to hear a pastor say that, it's kind of like, wow, he just said that, right? And it's being broadcasted. And so I took the risk to share a little bit about my story how I realized I had PTSD and how that came about to my congregation in a closed setting. And I still remember every time I shared in each class that I've taught so far, or facilitated so far, everybody is like, oh my goodness, the pastor is a human and he needs God as much as we do. We need to pray for our pastors. And I remember doing that and sharing that, and people actually almost gave them more permission to say, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable. This is a closed group. We want to make this a place where you can trust and share this. And we did that in the last 4 or 5 times I've done it. And every time I do it, I feel like it really helps someone else to share their part. So that was really helpful, I find.
Yeah, it takes an incredible amount of vulnerability to share your story with the congregation, especially as a pastor. And that's incredible to hear how that has impacted people in your congregation. Wanting to narrow in a little bit more on one specific experience of mental health challenges, what is something that you wish that people understood about post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD?
Personally, I been diagnosed with PTSD without knowing that I had it for so many years. I think for me, it was a real challenge because, as I mentioned, I grew up believing or being told that this is a faith issue where you don't pray enough. And so I remember because I have so many unresolved issues, and I've never went to the psychiatrist or psychologist to talk about this. I didn't know I have it until not too long ago, a few years back. Some of my peers, some of my pastors' friend, they told me, Eric, that the thing you're telling us sounds like PTSD. And to hear that, I remember it gave me such a big relief that someone actually recognized that this is not just your faith is too, you're praying enough. I do pray every day and ask God. But someone telling me that you might need to get checked. So I think I wish that people would just listen to the story. Like I find people tend to reduce us, saying, oh, that's just you, it's your problem. Stop doing that, stop thinking about it. But I couldn't help it. And it was really difficult. So I think listening is the very important part where people don't do well in general. So I encourage people to listen to the stories that people are going through, what is triggering this, and to help the person rather than just giving them quick solutions.
That is a beautiful answer. And that is the last question that I have for you. So thank you so much for being with us here tonight for our In My Shoes Gala. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eric. You know, it's so important to listen to one another's stories. And we are so grateful that you shared a bit of your story with us tonight. It's also so encouraging to hear how the work of Sanctuary is making a difference in individual lives and in whole church communities. We've been so encouraged by the way the Sanctuary course has been impacting churches around the globe. And we want to keep producing resources that will raise awareness, reduce stigma, and strengthen faith communities. And so, over the past year, our team has been busy working on a revised and expanded all-new resource that takes into account the feedback of facilitators and participants. It will be more accessible, feature diverse representation, speak to the experience of caregivers, and will provide additional support for facilitators. Tonight, I am excited to announce to you that next year, we are launching a new version of the Sanctuary course. And as promised tonight, for the first time ever, the global premiere. Here is the trailer.
Something had happened that triggered so much anxiety for me that my mind couldn't stop, and I was getting increasingly depressed. I felt like life was about to end.
I was struggling with anorexia and bulimia. I was so broken.
I'm not in any danger, and I'm just breathing like something bad had really happened.
I thought, I'm always sad. If you dig deep, there'll be this river of sadness that flows underneath everything.
A sense of the world closing in on me. Horrible, horrible experience.
I started to have delusions. I was not reading reality properly. I was really scared.
I thought, there's no way out of this.
It's hard to see a way that this could be different, but hang in there, get help,
because it really can be different.
The way I performed or looked externally didn't seem to align with what other people thought depression looked like. They're like, oh, well, you're okay. Oh, well, you're in school. Oh, you're getting A's. You're fine.
Culturally, mental health issues is just not recognized in the Asian American experience. There was certainly a kind of a stigma attached to it.
I felt so much shame. I couldn't let somebody else into that world.
It's critical to normalize. Don't stick our heads in the sand and not recognizing there is someone in your congregation that is dealing with some issue related to mental health.
We all need to lament together, articulating our sadness and recognizing that even in our sadness, God is there.
Your struggles, your suffering, your diagnoses do not exclude you from belonging. Those things are welcome to be talked about.
Resist the temptation to seclude, to stigmatize people experiencing mental health challenges. Listen deeply, come alongside, and treat as a holistic, multifaceted person.
Mental health is important because it cuts to the very heart of our experience of being human beings.
Do some work and do some learning. Find empathy and compassion for real people having real experiences.
When there is a hand that can guide you through God, it will be inspiring to know that there's someone there who may be able to help you.
God is here, and I think a really good church community would say, and we are here too.
We are so excited to be releasing the new version of the Sanctuary course in 2022. To make sure you don't miss the release, please subscribe to our newsletter or follow us on social media. And to make sure you don't miss an exclusive preview of one of the new and revised films, keep watching. But now, for the next few minutes, it's my joy to tell you about our work over the last year and to share a little bit about what we have planned in the year ahead. Well, what a year it's been. In 2020, we made the Sanctuary course available for free and saw more participants than ever before. We've been delighted that in 2021, the course is continuing to resonate with people around the world. We are hearing from people like Reverend Eric Wong, who are running the course over and over again, as well as seeing people discover Sanctuary for the first time. The Sanctuary course for Catholics launched earlier this year. It first launched on the Catholic distribution platform, Formed, which is based in the United States, and then on our website. The course is also available on Perusia in Australia. We were also thrilled that back in October, we translated the Sanctuary course for Catholics into Spanish. It is now available on Formed, with more international distribution platforms soon to come, seeing this resource spread both into South America and also into the wider Spanish-speaking world via a distribution partner based in Europe. This means that, to date, over 140,000 people across the world have been through the Sanctuary course or the Sanctuary course for Catholics in either English or Spanish. This is an incredible achievement, given that only 4 short years back, we were an entirely regionally located nonprofit with a staff of 3, 2 of which were part-time. By God's grace, we have grown very quickly to become an internationally renowned charity that is making a real and genuine difference in the lives of hundreds of thousands of people the world over. Beyond our flagship resource, we've been pursuing a variety of other resources, initiatives, and partnerships. Another great resource we've been working on is the free Sanctuary app, which was released internationally a couple of months ago. The app is designed to be a conversation starter for friends who want to have conversations about well-being and faith. We're excited that in a short time, it's received nearly 800 downloads. Now, when we look at our reach over the last year, we see that in 2021, we received over 309,000 website views, compared to just over 214,000 views in the previous year. That is a huge increase. And as if that isn't impressive enough, our website has been viewed by people in 196 different countries. And to date, we've had resources downloaded in 66 countries. Isn't that incredible? People all over the world hearing a message of hope for mental health support in the church. Speaking of the rest of the world, Sanctuary UK celebrated its first year of operations. a first year in which our UK team is growing and has delivered open access training events on post-pandemic well-being. In recent months, our UK director, Corinne Pilling, has been interviewed by numerous media outlets, raising the profile of Sanctuary's work. And if you happen to be at St. Paul's Cathedral, London, for the Christmas Eve service, you will hear him doing a reading as our representative. Right now, we are working on a community development resource to be launched later next year, and we're working on 2 Catholic resources with the Catholic Association of Mental Health Ministers. One of those resources is based on the book, When a Loved One Dies by Suicide, and the other resource is a resource to help Catholic parishes establish a mental health ministry, which is in partnership with the University of San Diego. We're also delighted to announce that we have recently secured funding in principle from a Swiss organization to translate our new version of the Sanctuary course into German. Also, we are completing the 2nd phase of research for our youth project, working with a researcher in the UK. We're filming for a series of modules that are scheduled to be released by the end of 2022. In addition to all of this, we have a number of other significant resources and initiatives being planned and negotiated right now. As one journalist put it this year, Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries has a lot of energy and a creative spirit. One exciting initiative that took place in June was our first Move for Mental Health campaign, where we had 120 participants moving for over 45,000 minutes. In teams, people kayaked, danced, swam, skated, gardened, and much more, all to raise over $50,000 for mental health, which was an incredible achievement for our first summer campaign. Thanks again to all who participated, and we'll be back next summer to move again. Another great initiative that came out of our team's conversations about the intersection of race, faith, and mental health was the Healing in Colour art exhibition, a collection of artwork from Black, Indigenous, and other artists of colour from around the world. We commissioned art from 15 artists from 10 countries, including New Zealand, Brazil, Australia, and Guatemala. If you donate to Sanctuary, you'll be receiving one of our new, beautiful thank you cards, which features artwork from that exhibition. The exhibition was hosted at the Dal Schindel Gallery at Regent College, right here in Vancouver, but you can still view the exhibit as a digital magazine on our website. I mentioned that in the last year we've established exciting new partnerships, and we are thrilled to partner with Regent College, an internationally renowned graduate school of theology, to help establish their first certificate in mental health and Christianity. We're also excited to partner with organizations across the globe like Formed, Perusia Media, the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministers, Power to Change, Food for the Hungry, and Renew Wellbeing in the UK as well. Perhaps the biggest announcement we've made in the last year is that the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, the leader of the Church of England, has become our first official patron. Patronage means that Archbishop Justin has officially endorsed our work, that he is happy to be aligned with our work, and that this patronage opens up many new and exciting doors for us as an organization. It is a true honor to receive his patronage, and there are not many organizations in the world that will ever get this opportunity. So we are especially thrilled to receive this honor. For the record, Archbishop Justin is a keen mental health advocate. He's spoken of his own lived experience in public, and he remains profoundly committed to changing the mental health conversation in the church at large around the world. I hope you can see how excited I am about all the work we've done, that we are doing, and that we dream of doing in the years to come. And I hope you're excited too. Sanctuary is only able to offer these free tools and resources to the communities that need them most because of the generosity of our donors. As a 10-year-old nonprofit, we couldn't have got this far without you, our friends and supporters praying for us, financially giving to us, and raising awareness of our work. Given what has been happening in the world over the last 2 years, we believe our work has never been more needed. The good news is that we have an opportunity to equip and mobilize the church to be that safe, supportive, and caring environment, to help meet a very real need in society for those that are languishing, isolated, and hurting. This is our moment, so please help us grab the moment. Help us to change the culture of mental health support in the church worldwide. Together we can do it. Just look how far we've come in such a short space of time. Your donations will enable us to continue to build a global movement that ensures the church becomes the safest place, truly a sanctuary for all. This evening, I'm asking you to consider whether you can become a regular supporter of Sanctuary's work. Last month, we launched our monthly donor club, which we've called Alongside. Alongside is a community of monthly donors passionate about supporting mental health and well-being, especially in their faith communities. Would you consider becoming a regular supporter so that we can continue to build on what has been our biggest year yet? With your help, we can establish this work in new territories and new places, create new tools that we know the church needs, and take existing tools and translate them into new languages. If you are willing to join us, either with a one-time donation or as a monthly donor, please hear me when I say that no donation is too small. If a lot of people each give a little each month, together it makes a lot. And having said that, no donation is too big either. So join us, help facilitate the growth of this non-profit, which was birthed right here in Vancouver, but is now impacting communities around the world. Now, before I close our time together by showing you one more exclusive film, the only thing really left for me to do is to thank all of you for joining us tonight. We are here to not only tell the amazing stories of the last year, but also to resource this important work together. Our goal is to raise $200,000 in December. A donor has stepped up with matching funds of $100,000. Thank you so much to that donor. So that means that every $100 you give equals $200. It is the perfect time to donate. You can give online at sanctuarymentalhealth.org/donate, or you can make a donation over the phone, or you can send a check to the address below. Now, before I close this evening, let me remind you to keep buying shoes before 9 p.m. using the code SANCTUARY to designate your purchases. The Sanctuary Fluevog code will stop at 9 p.m., so get online and tell all your friends to get online too, and make your purchases before 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll now close our time together by introducing our final closing film. You know, back in February 2020, I had the distinct honor of traveling over to the UK to film with a number of people for upcoming resources. And one of the amazing people I met was a lady named Simone. Simone is a woman of faith who lives with schizophrenia, and we had an incredible conversation. Simone's is one of the lived experience stories that will feature in our new revised Sanctuary course to be released in 2022. Her story is so inspiring and full of so much wisdom, so we wanted her to have the last word this evening in this short abbreviated version of what will become a session in our new revised course. All that's left for me to do is to thank you so much for all of your support. We are so grateful. And on behalf of all of us at Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries, may you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And now, as we close, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce Simone Story. God bless you.
I was asleep and I had a visit, and the voice said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. And this man, very genteel, very striking eyes, very soft, very comforting manner, goes round this campfire and sat down, and he turned around to me and he said, why do you try to use big words? And I said, I don't mean to use big words. I don't understand big words. People don't listen to me. He said, what do you mean? And I said, I find it very hard to put my point across on paper, let alone in speaking to somebody. He went, you'll be heard. He said, try to be yourself and be honest with yourself and true. You won't remember everything what I say to you. We got up and he was walking away, and as he was waving, and I went, oh my gosh, I know who you are. I went, you're Jesus. And he waved and he went like that as he was walking away. And I thought, I've just been visited by Jesus. I've been visited by his angels. I've been visited by God himself. Living with schizophrenia and knowing that God is by your side is a positive aspect. He may not answer you as an immediate solution, but the end result can be more rewarding than what you can ever anticipate. It's taken me to here, so I'm going to be heard. So Jesus was right. It's nice to have somebody to listen to you within the church and to help you to grow, to learn, to adapt, and to live with schizophrenia, and to live with the faith that I have, that God's by my side.